There we go. Pretty sure. I might just turn up my volume a little bit. As last week it was a little bit quiet. And we're not going to start until 7:30 on the dot. So if you are here, hello, how are we doing? Living our best life. We've got a nice little man here. He looks very excited. So I have a feeling we're going to have a nice little stream today. I'm just going to update my other socials on the happenings of this evening. How do I share this stream? I'm so bad at doing everything. Share the link, copy the link. I've got 3 viewers already. What's up, guys? We got 4 minutes. Who we got? Who's visiting? Who's hanging out with Rabbi K? Hi Shreyan! Good to see you again. Thanks for coming back. Glad you had a good time last week. It was good to meet you. Oh, hey girl. ¿Estás mami? Hatamali. I love this. I love that I have 4 peeps already. 3 more minutes and we'll start the stream. I'm such a pro, such a profesh gamer streamer. How's everyone's day? What have we gotten up to? Your girl had to go into the city today and have an impromptu meeting, so we had to push back the stream till 7:30. I'm gonna see how the 7:30 stream goes though, because maybe the 6:30 is a little early, especially for the Aussie viewers, because a lot of people make tea and stuff, so we'll see how we go. But it's 2:28 a.m. in San Fran, and it is 10:28 in Manchester. So my two babes, I mean Sam really should be asleep, but that's fine. I'll allow him to stay up to watch me. Oh yay! Stasi mami hatamali. Are you working from home still? I'm getting live chats from the people who aren't officially logged in to comment on the IRLZs. Oh, I hope this one's good. Last week was so fun. I had such a good time. I had the best day the next day just from having such a good time watching Judge Jude's with my peeps. Gross. June 21st, that's so far away. Oh, Shreyan, big day. A doc's appoint and work. Do the old 9 to 5. And you're going to do the fun stuff after. Well, I hope you guys have your Savvy Bee ready so we can get some trashy Judge Judy uppers. Or if you're at work, some coffee. Just casually fix my hair, no bigs. Alright, it's 7:30. Let's get the old Judge Jude up us, shall we? Where's my interaction thing? Alright, here we go. Are we ready? Strap in for some Judge Jude. Judge Jude? Hey, Judge Jude isn't trashy. The people that she deals with is trashy. I'm sorry. Let me recall. Why is chat disabled for the live stream? Why can't nobody see my chats? Maybe I've got to pop out the chat and copy the link. Excuse me, technical difficulties. Copy the website address, go back. Sorry, second stream, babes. I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out, you know. Let me just go back there. There we are. Sorry, there we go. We can see all the fans. Hey, Jacob. What's up, bitch? All right, let's get her underway.
Robert Jones posed for an assault and for funeral costs for their child.
Oh, what a great start.
The deceased child wasn't his.
Miss Jones, according to the complaint that I've read, the
This is like a Maury episode.
defendant was your
Judge Judy determines that that was a lie and you are the father.
boyfriend. You became
Imagine if Maury... Sorry, I'm already starting off at like a crazy pause, but imagine if Maury popped out in this episode and he's like, the lie detector determined that was a lie, you are the father.
pregnant sometime in 2005.
Yes.
You broke up with the defendant and you were pregnant at the time.
Yes.
It is your claim that he assaulted you, and as a result of that assault, your baby was born prematurely and died. You want the defendant to pay for half of the baby's funeral expenses and damages for the assault.
Okay.
Mr. Jones says that you were the one who assaulted him, as a matter of fact, on the day that you broke up.
Naturally.
That he never agreed to pay for the child's funeral expenses. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even positive that the child was his and told you that he had wanted a blood test before
What a sad episode to start on, I'm sorry.
he assumed responsibility of the baby. That's your defense.
Yes, it is.
Okay. When did you become pregnant, Miss Johnson?
I found out I was pregnant July 22nd,
Of what year?
2005.
And were you living with Mr. Jones at the time?
Robert was staying with me along with his son because he was having arguments with his mother.
Did you move in with her in July or before that time?
I'll be staying over, you know.
You were staying over?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you break up?
November 20th as a result of the assault. We were...
Had he, just listen to me. Had he slept at the house the night before?
Yes.
And the night before that?
Yes.
So tell me what happened.
So he was living with her and just staying over and getting her pregnant, but then not sure if she's the one that, yeah, makes
On
sense.
November the 20th.
November the 20th, I received a phone call from Rob at about...
This chick reminds me of Nicole 337. If you know, you know.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, then he hadn't been at your house 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, he was at the bars. He would frequently go to the bars and then come over to my house afterwards. And he had called me at 3 o'clock in the morning stating that he was going to come over. I ran downstairs and unlocked the door like I would usually do, and he didn't come in. So after a while, I looked out my window and saw that the car was parked and the headlights were on and the car was still running. So I laid there for a couple more minutes and then got dressed. And when I walked outside, I saw that Rob was passed out in the driver's seat. So
Hot.
I crawled into the
That's when we conceived our first baby.
passenger seat and woke him up and asked him, you know, what he was doing and why he hadn't come in the house, and he told me that he didn't know. So we were trying to get the headlights of the vehicle to turn off. They wouldn't turn off. So I suggested that we just unplug the battery. I was 5 months pregnant. I didn't want to be fighting with him. I would much rather just go to bed. He wanted me to, you know, be with him that night, and he wanted to be around me. So I stated, you know, let's just...
This case, like, super isn't that shocking. I don't know about, like, everywhere from the people that are viewing where y'all are from, but, like, this is just, like, a regular day on the north side of Redcliffe, Brisbane, or, I know Jacob, like, legit. Hey, guys, it's Nicole.
Just unplugged the battery. We couldn't figure out the lights. So he started to proceed to back out of my driveway. I told him that he was
Side note, if anybody who knows Nicole337, have you seen her lately? Like, she is thriving. She just got divorced and she is like all about it on YouTube. Check her out. And she's like, I'm 30, I'm flirty, and I'm thriving. She's living her best life.
Drunk that
Yes, queen.
I didn't want to go anywhere with him. And he wasn't listening to me, so I leaned over and smacked him in the face. I went like this to the front of his face. He then looked at me, told me to do that again, and I looked at him and said, what did you mean? And the next thing I knew, he punched me in my face.
Jeez.
So first you punched him and then he punched you.
Yeah, I didn't punch him.
Just a second. So first you punched him.
Yes.
And then he punched you.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it.
But don't.
So what he was saying about her doing the assault first was actually correct. So, like, I know, like, the whole violence against women, but, like, you punched him.
The only reason I hit him is because he wasn't listening to me and he wouldn't stop the vehicle.
I got you.
So then my
He
nose.
wasn't listening to you.
Yes.
Why don't you just take the keys out of the ignition?
I didn't think of that.
Shouldn't have gotten in the car in the first place.
Shouldn't have. I
That's
shouldn't
correct,
have
that's
told them to come over that evening.
That's also correct.
Fancy punching someone in the face and when they retaliate, you sue them and then think that that's okay.
Knowing that he was drunk.
That is also correct.
Yes. I
Okay,
agree.
keep going.
I realized that my nose was bleeding very, very badly. So I opened the car door and I half jumped out of the car and he like kind of gave me a little push along with it because he was laughing at
Judy
the
coming
time.
through with that
and
common
I ran in the house
sense.
and proceeded to call my mother first. And
So you weren't too far from where the house was.
No, I live on the second house
Absolutely,
at the corner of
Shreya.
the block, and we were at the corner of the block.
Keep going.
I called my brother, and he took me to the emergency room.
And what did they do for you there?
My total opinion on the back of what Shreyan said, Shreyan said it's okay to hit for self-defense, I think. I think, like, keeping in mind the strength dynamic, like, I'm talking super stereotypically, traditionally, men are a lot stronger than women. I'm not talking all the time. Don't sue me. Don't come for me. You know what I mean? I think, like, fair enough if she kind of, like, pushed him and then he beat the shit out of her, that would be different. But, like, if she's full-blown punched him and he punches back and it's 1-for-1, it's kind of like, well, how can you... I don't know. Especially because it was like, she didn't listen to me. He didn't listen to me, so I punched him. Okay, yeah.
I first saw a police officer, and they went to arrest Rob.
That doesn't answer my question. What did they do for you in the emergency room?
At the emergency room, they took x-rays of my face, and I was having a sharp pain that was shooting from my back to my stomach. So then I was told that I had to go up to the maternity floor for monitoring on the baby.
And that was in November.
Yes.
And when was the baby born?
The baby was born in February
February what?
7th.
How much did she weigh?
She weighed 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
And when did she pass away?
The 11th.
Between November 20th and February 7th, did you see the defendant?
I saw him at the court dates.
Other than that?
No, because there was a court order for him to not be within 1,000 feet of me.
Now, when did you have this conversation with him with regard to paying for the baby's funeral expenses?
Okay, the first conversation I had with Robert was when he called me in late June after Father's Day. And I said, well, I kind of need money, you know, we should be paying for her gravestone, and I have funeral expenses that I couldn't get a grant from the state from everything. And he told me that he would get me $200 in August.
Let's hope this case isn't long and that, like, the rest of this hour is the other case, because this is rough.
That him and his mother could save that together. I then called him on August 24th, and he told me he didn't have the money. So I said that I would pay the rest of it and that he could just pay me back. And he proceeded to say that that was fine. The next time I spoke to Robert was on September 17th when he called me and asked me if I wanted to go fishing with him with him. So I said, yeah, that I would go fishing because I wanted to
With him.
speak to him about, the
Don't
money.
tell me why. You agreed to
Okay.
go fishing with him.
Yes, I knew
Is this the
that.
first time you had seen him other than the courthouse? Listen
No.
to me.
No,
Other than the court proceeding, is this the first time you saw him since November?
other than court and then our daughter's birth, no.
Well, you didn't tell me about the daughter's birth.
My sister called him the morning that I was supposed to have a cesarean section. I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure, and then becomes toxic and it affects the baby's heart rate. And the first time I had high blood pressure was December 20th, and it proceeded to get worse throughout the pregnancy due to stress-related
Don't
causes.
tell me what it was due to, madam, unless you're a physician. Are you a physician?
No.
Don't tell me what it was due to, madam, unless you're a physician.
Go ahead.
I love Jude's.
My sister called him the morning that I was supposed to have the cesarean section. He showed up shortly after our daughter was born, and I asked him if it would be okay with him to go up with her to the hospital up in the cities, because we live in Mankato, and she was being airlifted to Minneapolis. He said that he would go and be with her because they didn't expect her to live past the night. The next day, I was released from the hospital, and the following morning, Robert came down from the cities and took us up to the cities where the hospital was, because we weren't aware of where it was.
What do you mean he took you? How did he take you?
We followed him.
What do you mean you followed him?
My mother and sister and I followed him in a different vehicle. Him and his mother drove in their own vehicle. So when we got to the cities, he went to a basketball tournament and left us with my daughter so I could spend time with her.
Left us with my daughter.
And then later on that evening, he came back to the hospital when I was at the hotel. And the following day,
I'm asking you when you spent time with him.
I didn't spend...
You didn't see him at the hospital?
No, he left as soon as he got us there. We got up to the room.
You didn't see him in the hospital is my question.
Yes, I seen him at the
Okay.
hospital.
How many times did you see him in the hospital?
Just that first day.
So the baby died in February.
Yes.
Between February and September 17th, when he called to go fishing, did you see him?
On occasion, out and about, at like local stores, yes.
Other than seeing him at local stores, did you have him?
You know what she means. Oh, these people just play it, don't they? They're like, oh yeah, other than that one time that I saw him, like down the street. Like, she means, did you meet them? Did you see them? You know what?
A cup of coffee with him? Did you have a sandwich with him? Did you go out to a movie with him?
No.
Is that true, sir?
It's true.
So what prompted you to call her up to go fishing on September 17th?
Actually, she called me. And
Oh,
just
shocker.
had mentioned we were going fishing.
I believe it.
And if she wanted to come, it was a beautiful day out. So she said, sure. So went fishing, took her home, that was it.
Go ahead. So continue with your story, madam. Here
So
we are.
We went fishing.
We are now September 17th fishing, and he hasn't given you any money.
And when we went fishing, Robert and I took his mother to Cub Foods so that she could get milk for the house.
Milk.
Before he dropped me off at my apartment, which is about 3 blocks away from Cub Foods, which is a local grocery
I
store.
get
Did she just say cuck foods? I can't go back. I don't know how to actually go back, but if she said cuck foods, I'm done.
Just keep going,
Okay.
please. I don't need a map of the town.
Okay.
Move.
So after we dropped his mother off at Cub Foods, it was him and I in the vehicle, and I brought up the...
How do these defendants and I don't know, the characters in this show not just piss themselves laughing? Like, if I was sitting in front of Judge Judy trying to sue someone and she started ripping me with I don't need a map of the town, don't piss my leg and tell me it's raining, I'd just be pissing the whole time, I would die.
money, and he told me that he had bills himself that he needed, and I proceeded to leave the vehicle. And then at the powwow, I saw him and brought up the money again, and that's
So
actually
you
why
weren't afraid of him?
No.
No,
Not
you
when
weren't
he's
afraid.
not
Why would you
drinking.
No, you weren't afraid of him.
No, I'm not scared of him unless...
Why in the world, some 2 years later, are you suing him now for assault?
I just think that he owes me the money. I was emotionally distraught from the loss of my
I
daughter.
want to know why you didn't sue him before you went fishing with him.
I didn't want to go through the court proceedings.
Well,
and
what
everything.
prompted you now to go through a court proceeding to sue him for a punch that happened 2 years ago?
The fact that he won't pay for our daughter's funeral expenses.
Did he ever tell you that he wasn't sure that the baby was his?
No, he never told me that. And if he didn't think that the baby was his, why would he go up to the cities and sit with her?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. Tell me what happened on November 20th, Mr. Jones.
Okay, I had broken up with her earlier that day because she was real emotional, and she was kind of abused
She was pregnant. She was pregnant, of course she was emotional, what do you mean?
towards me. She would hit me in my
Me too, Shreyan. My orthodontist is lovely. His name is Dr. Bowers, and he is literally like, hey, how are ya? And then he sits down and like does my teeth. He's like, anyway, I'll see you in 6 weeks. Judge Judy, man, I wouldn't want her near my mouth. She'd rip it apart.
Chest or whatever, kind of, she did it like she knew because I wouldn't hit her, and she knew that, you know, I'm not a violent person. I never hit a female ever in my life, and I broke up with her earlier that day.
Well, tell me about breaking up with her earlier that day.
I was actually going to play ball with my friends, which I always did, and she kind of like got emotional and started, you know, kind of like crying.
No,
She cried a lot.
Kind of like, if you remembered what she said, if you remember as closely to what happened, please, I would
Well, we
like
weren't
to...
getting along before this either, so on that day, I told her that it was over.
Is
And
that
later
right,
on-
madam?
No.
Before he went out to the bar that night,
Yep.
because clearly you had to unlock the door because you would lock the door, so clearly he wasn't living with you at that moment. Did he discuss with you earlier in the day on November 20th that he was not happy with the relationship?
No, he had never once tried to or attempted to tell me that he was not happy in our
Okay,
relationship.
keep going.
Okay, and so I called her and told her that I was gonna come get my things.
What time?
This was at like about 2:30
In the morning?
in the morning.
You crazy? Why would you call at 2:30 in the morning to say you were getting your things?
The bar was like right by her place.
So you had
Too bad. 2:30 in the morning. Are you actually serious?
been in the bar, Mr. Jones. Yeah.
And I wasn't all like how she made it out to be.
I don't care whether you were all that, this is not an appropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
To go 2:30 in the morning, to go while you're slightly inebriated, to get behind the wheel of a car and go anywhere, to settle...
Mate, throw the book at him. Am I right, fellas? Exactly. You tell him. Bloody kimasabi.
anything.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wait.
So,
Kick the
okay,
desk.
so I went and grabbed my, tried to grab my things. I told her that, I just came to get my things and that it was over, and she kind of got mad because she...
Fancy you go out, you get drunk, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I've decided now is the perfect time to construct a breakup where you go and take your shit. Far
I
out.
never break it off anyways, and prior to this, she had injured herself twice at work to get my attention. She would, I'm at the emergency room, come down, and she, according to her, was in a car accident, they rolled or whatever. This is all her stories, and I never...
Has anyone seen that Facebook group that's like, yo, Gabby, this is the surgeon? If you haven't, look it up on Facebook after the stream, because don't leave me for that. But it is so funny. Like, there's this meme of this guy, I won't give it away, but it's like, yo, Gabby, this is the surgeon. Look it up. I'll type it in chat.
I had proof of anything, so
How many times did you go to the emergency room with her prior to November 20th?
just the day this kid was born. But after she had gotten pregnant, she told me that, like, just as like weeks after I found out, she said that we got into an argument. She said she's early enough in her pregnancy where she can say somebody else is the father. And I said, well, how do I know that's not what you're doing to me? And I tried going to her first doctor's appointment, and she left me sitting out in the lobby.
Okay, got it. Did you ever tell her that you and your mother could save up $200 until August?
Yes, I did.
And that you would give her $200?
Yeah, I said that basically so she would just,
I don't care why you said it.
yeah.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did.
Now, let's get back to November 20th. You said you were coming to pick up your things 2:30 in the morning.
Yep.
2:30 in the morning you got there, and...
She opened the door and she didn't want me in. And I wasn't going to barge in because that's not how I am.
Fine,
So she basically hit me in my eye because I told her I wanted my things and it was over. And she hit me in my eye.
He was just about to recap. I was like, she hit you in your eye, but yeah.
Closed the door, looked out the window, and I said, that's fine. That's the last time you'll ever hit me. And I walked, her sister actually dropped him off at my work.
is what you're telling me that she never got into your car?
She never did.
All right, I'd like to see the police report, please.
Yes, and I have pictures.
I'd like to see the police report, please.
If I could say something too, there was never even a police were even there.
Sir, you pled guilty to 5th-degree assault according to the plaintiff.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so...
Fiance coming through with the obligatory comments that I'd make him do.
All right, so you told the police that he doesn't live with you. That's what you told the police.
I told the police that he was staying at his mother's
You
house.
told the police that you do not live together and that he stays on and off, but he lives with his mother. Who are you?
Robert Armando's mother,
Stand up, please. Your last name is?
Jones.
Miss Jones, you told the police when they came to your house on November the 20th to go downstairs and get your son. Is that right?
Mrs.
You told him to go
Mrs.
downstairs and get your son because he
Jones.
came home drunk.
Right,
And he was passed out on the couch.
right.
Right. And you, sir, when you were
Fun fact, totally irrelevant, but the reason that I got the idea for watching Judge Judy on live stream is because Tyson and I used to watch Judge Judy before we went to bed. We don't really like watch shit before bed anymore because it like makes us not as tired, or it like makes it harder to go to sleep, but we used to watch Judge Judy episodes before bed.
questioned by the
So romantic.
police, you were so drunk that you denied even being over at your girlfriend's house.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, Mr. Jones, there is absolutely no indication here, nor, I assume, do you have any medical testimony that would indicate a correlation between your baby's death 2 months after you got this black eye, because that's what it was, and the baby's illness.
No.
No. So what you're suing him for is for the simple assault of giving you a black eye and the $200 he promised you for the baby's headstone. He's not responsible with regard to any of the other baby's expenses because there is no indication that this is in fact his child. In order to do that, you either have to be married, which you are not, or you have to have a blood test, which would establish that he's the father. Then he would be responsible for half of any unrecovered expenses for the child. Since you don't have that, the only thing that you have to sue him on is his agreement that he would pay you $200 towards the child's headstone,
which is not in writing or any kind of proof, so I'm just going to assume that the case is dismissed, but that's just me. What do we reckon? Leave in chat, dismissed, or is he getting a payout? Or she getting a payout? Not the other way around. Whatever. Put it in chat.
was really gratuitous, but he promised he would. You relied on that. That you have to pay, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Since there is no correlation between the injury to your eye and what subsequently happened to the baby, I have to examine the circumstances surrounding what happened on that day. There's no question in my mind that he was drunk, that he has no recollection of what happened that day, that he's making it up as he's going along, because he even denied to the police that he was there that day. Even your mother was disgusted with you, sir. Is that a fair statement, Miss Jones? Right. Okay. Now, you pled guilty to assaulting her, sir.
Yes, I did.
And you received probation?
Nope, I just got a $500 fine.
No, he was placed on probation for 1 year.
Sir, you better start remembering things that happened to you.
I never was.
I think you're right,
I was supposed
Tran.
to get a probation officer. I never did.
I
All
don't care
did
whether
was
you were
pay my
supposed to,
fine.
whether they never followed through and gave you a probation officer. Maybe you forgot. But if you were supposed to get a probation officer, it wasn't because they were giving you a probation officer for your birthday. They were giving you a probation officer because you were on
Probation.
Asian.
You have to learn, Mr. Jones, that there are consequences.
Ooh.
However, Miss Johnson, you don't
When will you learn?
get any awards for being the brightest bulb in the pack. When you're 5 months pregnant and your boyfriend calls 3 o'clock in the morning and says, I'm at a bar and I'm coming over, you lock your door and you...
Jody Arias. I'll have to look her up on YouTube and see if I can find a clip. That could be the end. Last week we had a little end thing of like Judge Judy's best moments. I'll see if I can find Jody Arias for our closing bid.
You keep it closed. You don't go outside to try to figure out how to get the lights off and disconnect this battery.
Yeah.
And you don't punch him in the face. But he started the problem by coming over there in the first place, which was really very stupid. And that, Mr. Jones, is going to cost you $500. So I'm issuing a judgment in the amount of $700, $200 for the baby's headstone, and $500 for this 2-year-old assault. Thank you very much. That's all.
Timothy Rodriguez claims ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Johnson posed for 2 acts.
I have seen Jody Arias actually. I just found her and she, oh man, oh shit, accidentally pressed the thing. Yeah, we'll totally put her out. I'll see if I can find like a 2-minute little thing. She's not a Judge Judy episode, but oh man, serial killer documentaries. You guys into that? Because I could totally do serial killer streams as well. Totally into that. But yeah, she's something else.
Accidents with his truck.
Mr. Rodriguez, Miss Johnson was your girlfriend for
Yes.
a period of time, and it is your claim that on 2 occasions she caused an accident which damaged your truck, and you want her to pay to have your truck repaired.
Yes.
Miss Johnson acknowledges that there were 2 accidents in the truck while she was driving. Her answer seems to indicate that you told her at the time it was no big deal and you would take care of fixing them. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is that you have bad temper, that you damaged the apartment by putting holes in the wall with your fist, and that at one point you assaulted her. That's her counterclaim. Is that right?
Yes.
Who is this lady?
That's my daughter's mother.
Can you tell me why she's here?
She was a witness to a phone call that
How's that hair, by the way? Like, that is like an actual, like, surely that's a wig.
spoke with Elizabeth about.
Way too styled to, like, you imagine you just, like, suck that off of a wig and just, yeah.
On my payments to my truck for the damages.
I see.
And she heard a conversation with her.
And how old is your
It's like that episode of Seinfeld where the episode where George has a thing with his shoulder and he goes to the therapist and she's like,
daughter?
My daughter's 2.
Is that your only child?
I have 2 other children too.
You thought about that for a second. How old are your other 2 children?
I love
One that's
sucking off
10,
wigs
and one
too.
that's 8.
And who did they live with?
They live with their mother.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Rodriguez?
I'm a union carpenter.
How much do you earn a year?
Roughly about 40,000.
And your 8 and 10-year-old, they live with their mother?
Yes.
What does their mother do for a living?
She's just a stay-at-home mom.
You must be very wealthy.
No.
Well, who supports your 8 and 10-year-old
Imagine earning $45K a year and being very wealthy.
children?
I do.
How much do you send them?
I send the mother probably about $500-600 a month.
You send her about $500 or $600.
It all depends on how much money she needs throughout the month.
You have a court order, sir?
No.
Even if I believed, sir, that you sent her $500 a month, she's not supporting herself and 2 children on $500 a month. How does she support herself?
Her boyfriend.
She lives with a boyfriend,
Yes.
and he supports her.
Yes.
What does he do for a living?
I'm not even sure.
Don't you see your children?
Yes.
And you have no idea. Well, how often do you see your children?
I see him like probably about 3 times a month.
Somehow, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm not getting the sense that I'm getting truthful answers from you, sir. But I'm going to find out.
Judge Judy always finds out.
Now, this young lady who's here has a 2-year-old child.
Yes.
You under a court order to pay her support?
Yes.
How much?
I pay her $83 a week, a total of $103 a week for arrears, $20 towards arrears of child support.
So there was a time when you weren't paying child support.
Yes, before I got into the union.
And how much do you owe her?
Right now the remaining balance on it is $600 and some change.
And how does she support herself?
She has a full-time job.
Who takes care of the baby?
Daycare.
Pays for the daycare?
Her and I both share daycare.
How much do you pay towards the daycare?
$43 a week.
So far, is all that correct?
Yes.
That is
$1,221 a month you pay out.
Yes.
How do you get there? Who do you live with?
I live with my mom.
How good is the hair, right? It's just like a perfect, it's like Malibu Stacy. No. What's the not blonde one with the hair? God, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna find a picture and that's gonna be my thumbnail.
You pay rent?
Yes.
How much?
$300 a month.
You have a car?
Yes.
Pay insurance?
Yes.
How much?
That's $2,300 every 6 months.
22,000, like $23,000. We're up to $23,000, right?
Yes.
You see where I'm going, sir? You eat,
Yes.
you have credit cards,
No.
pay for everything in cash,
Yes.
you have a truck payment,
Yes. $387 a month.
$400 a month.
Yes.
So now we're up to about
Gee.
$30,000 a year.
I also work a second job, full
Oh,
time.
convenient.
Oh, the courts know about that?
Yes.
Oh.
Betcha. They don't. How much do you earn but they will now. How much do you earn at the second job?
To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I'm up to $7 an hour on that job. Sometimes I work 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week.
The reason I'm asking you all of these questions, Mr. Rodriguez, is I was really interested in Miss Johnson's answer. While she acknowledged that she was in these minor accidents with your car, there was a little damage, she says that her mother, I assume this is her mother,
Yes.
was nice enough to loan you $6,000 to
You assume this is her mother. They're like a spitting image of each other with different hair.
pay back child support.
Your Honor, that wasn't off of child support.
What was it for?
Well, it was $1,900 of it went to child support.
So $2,000, according to you, went for
Yes.
child support, and the
Yes.
other $4,000?
The other $4,000, I paid some bills that I had that were passed out. And then it was like $2,000 of it that me and Elizabeth went out and spent.
You borrowed $6,000.
We've gone 21 and a half, or nearly 22 minutes, I should say. 22 minutes. How's this screenshot? I'm sorry, I did this lady dirty. We've gone 22 minutes without a head shake. Like, that was the first legit head shake on the sideline. Like, oh, we should do a head shake counter. I'll put that in mind for next time.
$1,000 from her and you signed the note?
Yes.
Have you paid it back?
I have.
Oh, is not an answer.
No.
When did you borrow the money?
May 6th.
I believe it was like July 24th
May 6th.
or May 6th. May have been May 6th.
May, July, December.
No shit.
Why haven't you paid it back?
Elizabeth got a restraining order against me, and the judge told me not to make any contact with them whatsoever.
Are you mad? I mean, is that the reason you're giving me? You have to understand, Mr. Rodriguez. I can tell phonies from at least 10 feet away. The fact that she's got a restraining order against you doesn't mean you can't send a Federal Express to our mother with a payment.
I asked the judge that. He said no contact whatsoever if she wanted
Are
money
you
from
kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
You mean that but for that, the money would have been in her hands already?
Yes. I went to court today to restraining order, and I had to check for her.
Good. Perfect. Do you have it with you?
No, not today.
What do you
Shocker.
know? I would have taken it for her. You got a spare check in your wallet?
No.
Take a look.
I didn't bring any checkbooks or nothing today.
See why I don't trust you, Mr. Rodriguez? Because you tell such good stories. You may tell them over and over again. And you actually believe that you can come here and tell me a story. Which,
Your Honor, it's not a story.
which irritates me.
It's not a story.
Which irritates me. Well, Mr. Rodriguez, you knew you were
What I'm gathering from this is that it irritates her.
coming to a neutral setting today. You knew that you owed this lady the money. Nothing would have prevented you from saying, Judge, while I'm here, because I'm asking you as a court of equity to take care of this problem that I have, I want to take care of my debts, and I owe her $6,000. So I would really like to be able to give you the check for her, because I have the money. I'd like to give you the check so that you can give it to her and I won't be violating any restraining order. You got it.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Johnson, I want you to tell me about the first accident you had with Mr. Rodriguez's car.
I was picking him up from work. It was a little wet out, and the tractor trailer was coming into my lane. So I hit the brakes and I hit the guardrail instead of him hitting me. So that's what happened.
And how much damage was done to the car?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it. And what was the date of that incident?
I have pictures. No, it's actually short. It's sometime in June. This is the side of the damage.
And I'd like
This
you
is
to
the
keep
other
your
side.
voice up because, you know, my hearing isn't what it used to be when I was 12. Oh, you did damage to the light and to the bumper. What year truck is this, Mr. Rodriguez?
A 98?
Did you cover this on your insurance?
No.
Why not?
I didn't call it into the insurance company because I felt as though, why should my insurance go truck?
Okay. Did she say she would fix it?
Yes, she did.
How much is the estimate that you got to fix it?
$23,1509.
And tell me about this.
I know, right, Jacob? She's like, that, what's that show with the singing and Anna, what's her name? And Fat Amy. It's something to do with singing. Anyway, like the chick that talks really quiet like this.
The second accident.
That was a dead
Second
joke, I'm
accident,
sorry.
We were driving to a second job, and he was arguing with me, and I was stopped at a red light, and the light turned green, and he was still arguing with me, and I looked over at him, and I thought the cars were going, so I started to go, and then I tapped somebody in the back because he had stopped.
You have a picture of the damage?
I don't have a picture
Your
of
Honor,
that.
I have
There's a
pictures.
little dent in the middle of the
I'd like to
Shot.
see it.
There are pictures of the car that she hit and my truck also.
Welcome back, Shreyan. You haven't missed much. Depending on where you came from, the last you said was Pitch Perfect. Thank you, Jacob. Yes, exactly. Yeah, nothing to do with singing, but, well, the show is to do with singing, but yeah. Shreyan, you have missed from this episode that he works 2 jobs. She hurt his car. He didn't want to go through insurance. You haven't missed much, to be honest. She's just been calling him out on what a piece of shit he is, really.
Well, that's the same bumper that's going to have to be repaired when they take the bumper off and they fix it from the first accident. They're going to fix the second one.
Well, the first one where she hit, it was only the side fender and the light. And
No,
a couple
no,
of
no, no,
scratches
no,
on
no,
the
it
side
wasn't.
of the bumper.
No, it wasn't. It was down here. And here.
Yes.
And this one is right in the middle, right here. Is that right?
Yeah. And
Well, then they take it off. They'll fix them both. Now, that's your case. What makes you think he forgave this debt?
He told me when he was trying to get back with me after I broke up with him, he said, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it. That's what he said.
No.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Now, is that your complaint against
Also,
us?
I have estimate from the car rental because I'm gonna need to rent a car for a week.
Take the bus. Maybe she'll loan you one.
Take the bus.
Now, you want to tell me about your counterclaim?
He damaged my holes in the wall. I mean, the holes in the wall.
You have pictures of that?
Yes. The bruise on
When
my
did
arm.
that happen?
The 22nd of July.
Tell me what happened.
I asked some girl called his phone and he said, how did you get my number? And he hung up on her. So I called her back. She told me that they had conversations and he kept saying, no, I didn't talk to her. I didn't talk to her. And he swore up and down all three of his kids that he didn't talk to her.
I didn't follow this from the beginning. You have to go through this slowly for me. You know, I'm not really up on this intrigue. You found somebody's number on his phone?
She had called his cell phone. He picked up the phone and he said, how did you get my number? And then he hung up on her. He got out of the truck to unload a car because we were at his job. And so I called her back and we were talking.
What'd you do that for?
Just to ask her a
Curious.
question, yeah. I mean, I didn't have any arguments with the girl on the phone, nothing. So I called her back and she told me that they had conversations and then we hung up. When he got back in the truck, I asked him if he talked to her and he said, no, I didn't talk to her. And he swore up and down on all his kids that he didn't talk to her. You know, for about 3 hours he kept saying, no, I didn't talk to her. So he told me, go ahead, check on the Sprint bill. So I went and checked on the Sprint bill. 33 minutes of conversation with the girl's number and he didn't call her.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
I never denied talking to her.
Yes, you did.
So you had a fight.
It was about 4 o'clock in the morning and, you know, we were fighting and he said, I'm tired. I said, well, I'm tired too. If you didn't lie to me, we wouldn't be going through this. He got soaked off of me. He picked up the candle
Who's that, Shreyan? The witness here?
off my TV with the glass dish, threw it at me and hit the wall.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
How did the holes get in the wall, sir?
I seriously don't know. I did repairs on the mother's house for the bedroom, the bathroom, and the outside siding. Why would
That
I
has
damage a
nothing
house
to
that I
do with
just
the holes
fixed?
in the wall.
Just asked you how the holes got in the wall.
I have no clue.
Okay. Did you have the walls fixed?
Yeah, I have an estimate for that to get them fixed.
Was this in your apartment?
This is in my mother's house in my bedroom.
Was he staying with you?
Yes, for the 4 months that we were going out, he lived at my house.
Why?
Because she
I felt bad
asked,
for
she
him.
asked me to move in with her.
I did not.
After the first time that we went out, she asked me to move in with her.
Oh,
Mr. Rodriguez, we've only just met, you and I.
This guy is off. Like, he's like a budget Freddie Prinze Jr., but dodgy and from Texas.
Yes.
I can tell you're instantaneously attracted to me. If I said to you, I want you to move in with me, would you do that?
No, I wouldn't.
That would be very smart, Mr. Rodriguez. I mean, it's so stupid what you said. I mean, do you think you're a stupid man?
No.
You just met her and she asked you to move in with us, so you moved in with her?
Yes.
You have a bridge?
For sale?
Yeah,
I can find one.
you can find one.
First episode with Officer Bird where he actually has a line that we have seen today. I love in the newer seasons where Officer Bird has like this big opal ring and he does the old parties at the excuse, please step forward.
Okay. According to what I read in your answer, there was something in your answer, Miss Johnson, that suggested to me that you were aware of the fact that Mr. Rodriguez had a bad temper. Is that right, madam?
Yes,
You did. And how did you know that Mr. Rodriguez had a bad temper?
with her. He told me stories.
Oh, there she is. That's the wig that Shreyan's talking about. That wig, that's not a wig, surely. Is that a wig? I don't know. I reckon it was her hair. I reckon she got this specially done for Judge Judy.
For 5 years.
Some
She
of it-
tried to get a restraining order.
Some of it for domestic violence? Is that right?
Yes.
And despite all that, you invited Mr. Wonderful into your house.
Yes.
Mr. Wonderful, isn't that a wrestler?
And your mother, who I don't even want to talk to, was dumb enough to give him money.
Yes.
You must live off a substantial inheritance.
No,
Where did you get the money from that you loaned to him?
I borrowed it off my credit card for him, so he would not go to jail for back child support, which was about $4,000.
Who did you owe back child support
Mummy coming through with the CC debt.
to? This lady or the mother of the other two
Damn.
children?
This lady.
Stand up. Over there. Did you pursue that matter in court? Of the back child support? Did you pursue it or did the state pursue it?
I didn't pursue it. They had already, when I had our daughter, I had to call and enter a child support order. We had
Why?
Because we weren't together at the time.
Who was supporting you?
I was living home with my parents, and I had a job.
You never received any
She, dead set, looks like Jennifer Aniston in the first season of Friends.
government assistance.
No.
So
Tell me I'm wrong.
somebody had to report him for not paying child support. That would have had to have been you.
Oh, okay, yes.
That's all. Sit down. Now I got it. Now you say that during this altercation with the candlesticks, he also assaulted you.
Not at that time.
When did he assault you?
I had kicked him out on July 25th. We had a week of nasty phone calls because I wanted my stepfather's tools back that he wouldn't return. And then 2 weeks after that, I was at a funeral and he called me, he texted me, he said, "I'm sorry about your grandfather," and then I talked to him again. 2 weeks he was begging me to come back to him, "Please take me back, I'm sorry," and that's when.
Well, so then you said okay.
I said okay, and about 2 days later, I spent the night at his friend's house with him, and
What is this case even about? I'm totally lost, actually. Like, I don't know if I just wasn't interested because, like, the first case was so, like, bad, but, like, what are they actually suing over here?
the next day is when I had to get a restraining order against him.
Well, tell me what happened.
Is it assault? Is that what it is?
At the friend's house. Well, you didn't learn your lesson yet, Miss Johnson.
Well, we got into an argument, and I wanted
You're right, Shane. It's more like a budget Jennifer Aniston first season of Friends.
to go home, so he
About what?
about anything and everything.
Your Honor, about one of my roommates that was walking around in a sports bra. That's
One
been-
of your...
A roommate,
Yeah.
on where I'm staying at now. She was walking around with a sports bra, doing her dishes, and her boyfriend was there with her, and she freaked out on me about her doing that. And I said to her, there was nothing I could do about her walking around with her sports bra on. It's her house too. I can't say nothing to her.
No.
And this was all the day before I was supposed to go and have surgery that following Monday.
Surgery on...
I had some medical problems.
So we had an argument.
How is this relevant to the case? I'm sorry.
Yeah, she was walking in a sports
I
bra.
bet you that's a part of his post-case interview.
I don't care if she was walking in a sports bar or if she was walking around with a
Thank you,
G-string.
Jacob.
It makes no
At least one of us is paying attention to this case.
I want you to tell me how it came about that you say he put his hands on you.
I'm getting there. So I asked him to take me home, so he took me home.
Oh,
and
you're
then
getting there.
On the way home, he, was buttering me up, so I agreed to go back with him. And about 3 hours later, we got into another argument because he was getting jealous because one of my friends was texting me. So then, I said, I want to go home, and he put his hands on me and he grabbed me and said, no, stay. And I said, no, I want to go home. And I had my bag, I had everything in my hand. He just kept grabbing me, broke my cell phone, he threw it downstairs. He swung his hands after he threw my cell phone downstairs and hit me in the eye right here. He threw me onto the couch, onto the floor.
Have a police report?
I do, Your
I have
Honor.
the
I'd like to
restraining
see.
order.
Huh?
The restraining order. The
No,
temporary
I
restraining
just
order.
wanted, I don't want to see the
You
restraining
want the
order. I want
restraining
to see
orders
police
too? I got
report.
copies of them too.
Of what?
I got copies of the restraining orders too if you want to see them.
Then I'll ask for it. So you had marks on your face and so did he, because you hit him and he hit you. Is
I
that
slapped
right?
him in the face after he threw me on the couch and onto the floor.
It says that you hit him twice.
No, I hit him.
It was more
I
than
hit
twice,
him.
Your Honor.
Yeah, but
After he-
according to the police report, you hit him twice.
After he threw my phone down the steps, I hit him on his back. And then he continued to grab me.
I assume you're not going to have anything to do with him anymore, is that right? I'm
This has got to be a dismissed.
dismissing your counterclaim. Deal with it. You better smarten up, Miss Johnson. You don't look like a stupid girl, but you've done a lot of stupid things. Now, as far as your complaint is concerned, Mr. Rodriguez, I believe that she owes you for the damage that she acknowledges that she did to the truck. Your estimate was for 23.
I have an
Excuse
agreement.
me.
It was for 23-15-09.
2315.
Yes, 09.
We are holding that judgment in abeyance, which means that you will not be getting paid on that judgment. You will get paid on that judgment when this court receives a canceled check, canceled by her,
Okay.
for the amount you owe her. Do you understand?
The full amount?
Do you understand?
$5,300.
Your Honor?
$5,300.
$5,300. When this court receives, sir, proof by way of...
I just realised that the mum is sitting in the defence's box. That's sad.
the canceled check that you have paid the $5,300 remaining on your debt.
I get you, Shreyan, because, like, he is clearly a piece of shit, but, like, it's just a bit petty and tit for tat, don't you reckon?
Even though we had an agreement signed?
$5,300, sir. When we receive proof that you have paid her, money that you acknowledge that you owe her, is that right?
Yes.
you'll get your check. Do you understand?
Yes.
Goodbye and good luck.
18-year-old John Beck.
Oh, we're in for a third episode. I feel like last week we only got two cases in before it went into the hour. So obviously they're short cases. Can't wait. I'm just thinking like we've only got 15 minutes left and I'm having such a good time. I don't want to end within the hour. Maybe I'll push it back, see how many viewers we have and how you guys are feeling.
Banks Jr. says 16-year-old Diana Helzer.
Also, for the people at home who were here last week / viewing currently, what do we think about this time frame? Do we feel like the hour later, the 7:30 start... Excuse me, the 7:30 start is a little better for the people who are like having din-dins and doing their thing? Or did we like last week's time frame where it was kind of all over and done with by 7:30? Just plugging my old Mac in because she needs a bit of charge. Yeah, let me know, time frames. Are we feeling like this kind of time frame is a little more fun, a little more appropriate, or do we want to bring it back to the old 6/3?
Stood him up for his prom. Diana and her mother Lori are countersuing for the cost of summer school classes and defamation of character.
You are suing Mrs. Hessler because her 16-year-old daughter, according to you, stood you up for the prom.
Yes.
You senior prom, and you had a lot of expenses, and you believe that her mother is responsible for her standing you up.
No, not necessarily, Your Honor. I don't
Well,
feel
she's
it.
responsible because you can't sue her daughter, so you have to sue her mother. Ms. Hessler says that her daughter did not stand you up, that you didn't do it, but she has a substantial counterclaim, and her counterclaim is that since you believed you were stood up for the prom, you have embarked upon a course of conduct that amounts to harassment and defamation of her daughter's character, which forced her to leave school because she flunked all of her finals, and it became a catastrophe, and she has a counterclaim. When did you invite Dana to the prom?
About May 20th?
Did you do it in person?
No, ma'am. I was introduced to her through a friend of mine. It was her best friend, and I was on the internet, and she...
Can you believe that this is actually a case? Like, what a way to end this episode.
messaged me. She sent me a message, and...
Who did?
Diana.
Diana sent you a message.
Right.
Saying what?
Just starting a conversation.
6:30 is better, Shreyan, you reckon? Like, get it out over and done with early? Like, once we get into this kind of time frame, it's feeling a bit late. We've got better things to do. Is that what we're kind of feeling?
And just, hi, my name is Diana. Something to that effect.
So you didn't ask her to the prom?
I did. Eventually I did.
In person or over the internet?
Over the internet and in person.
Is that right?
I don't remember him asking me in person to prom, no.
How do you believe he asked you to the prom?
Over the internet, we were discussing the fact that he needed to date, and he said, you know, you want to go with me, basically. And I said,
And what did you say?
I said, okay.
You said, okay, so now you had a date. And you knew when you go to the same school?
Yes.
So you knew when the prom was?
Yes.
Okay. So you had to buy, you rented a tux,
No, I bought a tux.
bought a tux. Figure stopped growing,
Yes, Your Honor.
buy tickets,
Yes, Your Honor.
rented a car.
No, I was gonna drive.
Okay. Tux, tickets, what else?
I also had dinner reservations. There was no fee for making the reservations, but there was for canceling reservations.
And what were all your expenses?
My expenses totaled to be, I believe, about $500 and some odd dollars.
How did you end up going to the prom, Mr. Banks?
No, ma'am.
Did not.
No.
Tell me what happened. What was the date of the prom?
Saturday, June 4th.
And just prior to June 4th, when had you last spoken with Diana?
June 3rd.
Where did you speak to her?
I spoke with her at school.
What did you say to her and what did she say to you?
I informed her that I'd be getting everything ready. And
Did she tell you what color her dress was?
Yes, it was pink.
Did she tell you what kind of flowers she liked?
No, ma'am.
Did you get the flowers?
Yes, ma'am.
Soz for the fact that we're grayscaling because we're trying to make sure we don't get any of this copyright feels, but I'm assuming the dress on the chair was pink.
What kind of flowers did you get?
I got a bouquet of roses.
Aw.
I got a corsage.
Pink
and a
roses?
hand thing. I don't
The
know.
whole 9 yards.
The whole nine.
Did
Bing
you tell her
bang
what time you
bong.
pick her up?
Yes, Your Honor. I told her I'd be there to pick her up at 4.
So what happened, Mr. Banks?
Saturday, I'd been running around picking things up, doing everything, getting everything ready. I hadn't spoken with her, but I had been speaking with her best friend, the one that set us up, and my best friend because we were going to double date to prom. I had been with her friend's date all day, and I was on my way to pick her up, and I got a phone call from her friend saying that she had an allergy attack and she couldn't go to prom.
What time was that?
I'd say about 3:50.
Go ahead.
I was getting ready for prom at about 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Got dressed, went and got my nails done, and made my hair appointment, and then picked up my dress. When I was getting my nails done, I did have an allergy attack, and
The dress gets its own bit of airtime, 15 minutes of fame. I bet you they sold that dress for like $1 million afterwards, like dress as seen on Judge Judy.
went home and I tried to
Pink,
call John
not
after
worn.
talking to my mom. I called him and his sister answered saying that he would be out with friends all night. So I decided, okay, I'm going to stay home for a while. A friend of mine called and said, Diana, or aren't you going to go to prom? I said, no, I don't feel good. She says, would you like to come over, hang out, and we're not going to go do anything? And I said, okay. We ended up going over to another friend's house, just relaxing and watching movies the rest of the night. And we fell
Sorry, I
asleep.
didn't mean to pause.
Well, that's pretty outrageous. My dear Diana. That's pretty outrageous of you. You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
You agree with I disagree.
Excuse me, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to your daughter, whose conduct was outrageous. Now, if you have an allergy attack and you are bedridden, that's one thing. But to go over to a friend's house, hang out and watch a movie is something entirely different.
Oh,
And
have
I
a go
would
at
be
the
angry
face on
too
it.
if I got stood up at the last minute.
I had not yet given my permission for them to go.
I don't
Oh,
care whether you gave your permission or not. Did she use her own money to buy the dress?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't know about it?
I did know about it.
All right.
Oh.
And when you found out about it, did you say to her, I have
Scene
given you
two.
permission?
Yes, ma'am.
When she went to get her hair and nails done, did you say to her, don't bother to have your hair and nails done because I haven't given you permission?
/ why are you going to do it? Because you need to give permission because you know of something. So if you didn't know it was happening, you couldn't give permission. But like, oh, I'm going to buy my dress, get my nails done, get my hair done. Oh, but I haven't said yet.
What I said was I haven't yet met Mr. Banks and I haven't given my permission. I need to meet him.
Miss Helsa, it's not an excuse. I'm saying that your daughter's conduct was reprehensible. For a 16-year-old, she stood him up for his prom.
Okay?
And she stood him up not because she was sick, because she...
I love it when people get ripped by by JJ and they just go, okay, have a go at this screen cap. Should that be my, I think that should be my thumbnail for this, this saved live. What do you reckon? Oh, have a go at it. Oh, I'm sorry, JJ. Don't mean it, babes.
She decided she didn't want to go, and she went to a friend's house and hung out with friends. And that is
Yeah, Shreyan, this is one of those cases where it's like literally there is a lot going on in the world and you're suing because you didn't get to go to prom with this girl. Just go to prom by yourself, dickhead.
reprehensible.
Is that what you did? No.
Is that what you did?
That is what I did.
You didn't know that?
Did you stand him up because you didn't want to go, or did you stand him up because you went and had an allergy attack and then went over to Julie's house?
It was because I had an allergy attack and my friend had wanted me to come over because she knew I wasn't feeling well and wanted to hang out.
Listen to me. If you have a debilitating allergy attack, you stay home. Go ahead.
That Saturday was prom, June 4th. June 5th, I broke my rib. June 5th playing basketball, and so June 6th, I stayed home, which was on Monday. I called her best friend on the phone. We talked about it because she felt bad as well because she set us up together. And I decided to call Mrs. Helser. And we spoke on the phone for a while. She was a really nice lady. And she also felt that what she did was inappropriate. And I know that she's not legally obligated.
JJ is not having it. I wonder if she's got a kid that age and she's just like, this would not stand in court in my house.
To pay me back.
The house of JJ.
Because, it's an agreement to go to
Should I just rename my channel The House of JJ? I reckon I should.
a social event, and that's not a contract. However, her mother being of age and me being of age, she did make a verbal contract over the phone, and I have a witness here. Her best friend is here to testify because she was on the phone when I called her.
What did her mother say?
We spoke about what Diana really did on prom night.
Well, what did you say to her mother? Her mother's here. She's a party. You can tell me what you said to her
I
mother.
told her that I had an agreement to go to prom with her, and she informed me that she was aware of that Diana actually had an allergy attack, and I told her no, that Diana actually decided to spend the day with her boyfriend because I guess apparently she got a boyfriend that morning and he asked her not to go.
Hey, welcome to the stream, Bagel.
Saturday morning, she got a boyfriend, and she decided, and he asked her not to go. So, you know, and that's perfectly fine. But
Are you saying that somebody knows that? That you have a witness?
that I was on the phone and that she told her that? Yes, I have a witness here.
I'd like to see the witness.
Raise your right hand.
Officer Berg gets his own moment. Bagel, just so you can be caught up at the moment, because we've only got 5 viewers, so we might as well get you caught up. This guy is suing this chick because she fake sick to go. They were going to the prom. She's fake sick. He's suing. It's a whole thing.
Do you swear to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes.
State your name for the record.
Kayla Brett.
Kayla, are you a friend of hers?
Not anymore, but I was.
Ooh.
Were you the girl who was supposed to double date
Have a go at that little face she gave then.
with them?
Yes.
You had originally set them up? Did you have a conversation with Diana with regard to why she didn't go to the prom with him?
Yes, I did. I called her to make sure that she was ready to go because John was on his way, and she had informed me that she did not want to go.
Did she say why she didn't want to go?
She said she had an allergy attack, but
Yeah, pretty much. She faked an allergy attack, or she had an allergy attack, but then she ended up at the friend's place. And, like, I'm assuming it's because he bought a suit. I don't know. She bought her own dress and she bought her own nails, so we mustn't have spent much, but it must have been emotional turmoil or some stuff. It's a real nothing case. You missed all the good stuff, but we're thinking about keeping on going because I'm having a good time. I don't know about you guys, but
to talk to her
let me know.
later on that day before my date came to pick me up. She told me that,
I suppose Mummy can keep
actually
us
it
updated.
was June 5th, that she told me she had spent the night at her boyfriend's house.
What boyfriend?
His name is Jason.
So she said she spent the evening with Jason.
Yes.
Prom evening with Jason.
Yes. She also had, there's a website called MySpace. I don't know if you're familiar.
There's a website called MySpace. Jeez, this must be like a 2005 episode or something. I love the vintage episodes though, like where Judge Judy's got the good hair. She hasn't got this weird little ponytail situation.
It's,
I don't do that machine.
It's a website where you go and you can write journal entries on there, leave comments for friends, and post pictures up there. She had left a blog explaining what she had done that day, and she said,
God, remember leaving blog posts for bloody MySpace? Jesus, that like takes you back. Like, remember when Facebook was not a thing and like only old people had Facebook, and then like you'd only get Facebook if you were a MySpacer, you'd only get Facebook just to like keep up with your old friends, like your old family. Like, I literally remember my first Facebook blog or like about me being like, I've only got this from my sister because she's like 20 years older than me. So I was like, my sister, you know, the top nines. I remember putting Jeffree Star in my top 9 all the time, and just like you had to like have not only the top 9, but then you had to explain in your little about me why you had them as your top 9 and like who they were and why you loved them. They were your peeps. Like,
that she was at a friend's house roasting marshmallows and she had spent the night there. That's basically...
And having Wonderwall as your like ultimate song that like came up when anybody clicked on your profile, and it'd be like, after all.
Confirmed that what she was doing, and I did have a conversation
Amazing.
with her, and I was quite upset, and I told her everything, how messed up it was that she had done that.
That's pretty messed up.
It is.
Did you tell your mother that? Look at me.
No.
Did you tell your mother you were going to spend the night with Jason?
I told my mom I was...
Have a go at mum's face. This is totally like 15-year-old my life. Like, have a go at it. She's like, I gave up on this guy because I had an allergy attack, but then I ended up at Jason's house because on MySpace I posted a blog. Like, have a go at the mum's face. No, 15 years ago, don't say that. Oh, gross. It would be too. Oh, gross. Oh, I'm old. I'm nearly 30.
We're at Julie's, and I told my mom that we were going over to Jason's to watch a movie. And
your mother just said the word Julie. I never heard your mother say Jason. Your mother was whispered to you, you went to Julie's.
I did go to Julie's, ma'am.
Oh,
we went over to Jason's, who was not my boyfriend.
Just a second. So from Julie's house, you went to Jason?
Mum has no idea that she just walked into a court case with JJ with a daughter that went to Julie's, but she actually went to Jason's because they totes hooked up.
Jason's house. Didn't have an attack in between getting from Julie's house to Jason's house, did you?
They're neighbors, no.
Didn't have an attack between Julie's house and Jason's house, did you?
No, ma'am.
And she did call me and checked in, and she called at midnight and let me know that they were just about to finish up a movie and that she would be back at Julie's by 1.
When you spoke to Mr. Banks on the phone 2 days later, did you tell him that you would compensate him for his expenses?
No, ma'am, I did not.
JJ about to rip them a new one, plus the mum's like trying to save us while also knowing she's gonna rip her friggin' child's mum. Oh, new one as well. Oh, this is a great episode. I was like really upset about this episode being the final episode, and then Shanae was like, this is a good case. I saw it the other day and I was like, maybe it is good, but it's Brill. It's
Well, what did you say?
Other than the fact that I feel a million years old because MySpace was 15 years ago, but yeah.
I said I needed to see receipts.
So you did discuss expenses.
We discussed
Fine,
expenses.
and you said I needed to see receipts.
Before I would even consider a discussion.
I don't believe you.
Seriously.
I don't believe you.
I don't
Yep,
believe you.
I believe that you said to him, I will pay those expenses, but I have to.
Why would she believe her? Bloody 10 minutes ago she was saying that she was at her bloody friend's house and then she's just discovered that her daughter was at her boyfriend's house that she didn't even know about. Why would she believe her?
See receipts.
I have emails here where he's saying that I agreed to pay $270 for prom tight. Diana said, Diana said she's going to pay me $270 for prom. Hit me up. And then to Kayla, who responded, I say $300 even. What's an extra $30?
Listen, what I said to you was you had a discussion with Mr. Banks,
Nice little skip. Must have been an ad, I'm sure.
and you are under no legal obligation. I don't believe you are under a legal obligation, but for the fact that you agreed to pay him.
I didn't agree to pay him.
Your Honor.
Just a second.
Your Honor.
In order to have a contract, Mr. Banks, let me explain something. It gets to be a little bit tricky. There has to be, in order to have a valid contract, there has to be some consideration. That means that each person is giving something.
She's so ready to rip this. Like, look at her face. She is just so ready. She's got like a whole speech ready. I'm so keen.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
What would be the consideration in your judgment for Miss Helser to make an agreement to pay you any part of your prom expenses?
I think she felt morally obligated. She still stated to me that Diana had just gotten a job. I didn't know Diana had a job. She said Diana had just gotten a job and that she'd make Diana pay me back my money as long as I had receipts. And I have receipts here right now.
Just a second. So she said she would make Diana pay you back.
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe you.
18-year-old John Banks Jr. says 16-year-old Diana Helser stood him up for his prom. Diana and her mother Lori are countersuing for the cost of summer school classes and defamation of character.
Go ahead.
I was on the other line. He had three-way. Miss Helser, while I was on the phone, she did say that
Shreyan / Sir Tum Tum. Absolutely, I agree. I lived for MySpace. That's where I learned how to do like standard CSS and HTML coding. Like back before, okay, little history for y'all. I learned how to do coding from MySpace, and then I used that same coding strategy to create Neopets, like about me pages. But yeah, like dude, so much more. Like it's like, man, that was a vibe. That was a huge vibe. Like top friends. Like where you do like the 5k a day, where you'd like go onto those sites and like get like 5k likes in a day if you like certain things or followed certain things, and like the more friends you had the cooler you were, and like if a celeb commented on your page then you were like totes cool and you could like pin comments. Those were the days. Also pre MySpace, do you guys remember Bebo? That was like when I was like 12, and then like MySpace was like the thing when you were like 15, but Bebo was the orig.
Diana would pay for the expenses out of her own paychecks because she had just gotten a job.
That's not true. What I said was I would consider based on seeing the receipts.
Also, you can tell this is like a million years old because like seeing the receipts, like in this day and age, the receipts is like, you know, I got the receipts on Jeffree Star, or I've got the receipts on James Charles.
And Miss Helser, we're on the line.
Miss Helser?
Yes.
I was both, Jacob. Like I was a Bebo person, and then I like evolved into the MySpace era.
I'm going to flip over for a moment to your counterclaim, which I'm prepared to hear in 30 seconds or less. He's got a claim for maybe $500. He's got receipts that totally says maybe $500. You have a 4,000.
MSN Messenger, yes, but Windows Messenger. Remember those days, like pre-profile picture or just email.
$1 counterclaim because according to you.
Or calling people on the phone on like the line and your parents can pick up and be like, who are you talking to? Oh, we have evolved.
Your daughter was harassed, defamed, etc. She flunked all of her finals, because of what he did. So you want to get there, please? Diana?
Yes, ma'am. I had been on MySpace and I saw a ad that Kayla had posted about paying people to kick my...
Read it, Director.
You don't have to read it to me.
Okay.
What does that have to do with him if Kayla wrote something?
John had confronted some girls at school about...
Don't tell me any hearsay. I don't want to hear any hearsay.
See it.
He had been talking to Kayla on the conversation that I have in front of me about 2 girls that are going to beat my... and that basically I would look better if Matt was kicked.
Oh, of course.
What else?
Okay. In this email, he's saying that she'll look even worse after getting beat. The girl that's going to beat her is Jason's ex-girlfriend, because her and Diana used to be friends, and she thinks that's that she's with her ex. Oh, well, whatever the reason is, she wants to beat her. Hit me back.
What does that have to do with him?
This is his word saying
I don't care. What does that have to do with him? According to that email,
Literally
Jason,
nothing.
the new boyfriend, had an ex-girlfriend, and the ex-girlfriend of Jason is going to beat her up.
He's got 2 girls at school ready to beat my daughters.
No. Listen to me. What you just read to me was that the girl is Jason's ex-girlfriend who is angry with her. He may not discourage it. He may even like it. But that's what you just read to me.
I disagree.
Well, I don't care what you agree with, Miss Helsa. I would listen to you if you took responsibility for your daughter's bad behavior and said to me, listen, this was a teenage thing. I feel responsible for my daughter's bad behavior. Blew him off, and he was a very nice young man. And I'm speaking.
Oh, we haven't had an I'm speaking in a while. I'm speaking. Oh, that's a good screenshot as well. I'm going to keep that for the thumbnail. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. That's my screenshot noise.
Speaking. Well, he was a very nice young man. He called you 2 days later. He called you most respectfully. Otherwise, you would have hung up on him.
I love it. Oh, yeah, I disagree. Like, she's going to turn around and go, do you? And tell me why. You know what? You're right.
Called you most respectfully and said to you, this is what your daughter did, and it was not the right...
Such a teenage thing. Can you even believe that this is in court? Like, what? I love it.
Right thing to do. So he was most respectful. And if you came into court, or didn't even have to come to court, if you said to him, look, I think what my daughter did was reprehensible, and I'm going to do the best I can to cover your expenses, and I'll make my daughter pay me back for whatever your costs were, because what she did was immature. She's only 16. But also...
Bless.
Unkind. And I don't raise my child to be unkind, an unkind human being, then I would have respect for you instead of making excuses.
God, it's like the pan then was like a perfect mirror image of like what she's going to end up like in like 20 years.
I'm not making excuses. You did make excuses, because I didn't hear you say to me at any time, he's a nice young man, he tried to do the right thing. My daughter did the wrong thing. My daughter was not hospitalized. She did not seek doctor's counsel that day or the next day. She went out with her girlfriend Julie and her new boyfriend Jason, and they hung out together until after midnight, and it was not the right thing to do when he was supposed to pick her up at 4 o'clock, and between 4 o'clock and midnight, she was not, I'm speaking, and between 4 o'clock and midnight, she was not in an emergency room.
We did not have any idea when he would arrive to pick her up.
Oh, grow up.
Are operating somewhere in La.
This kind of woman is the kind of woman, like, you can see why teenage girls are operating so juvenilely. Juvenilely? That's not a word. Whatever. Operating like juveniles. Because, like, the mother clearly hasn't, like, totally grown up in her own head yet. And she's kind of, like, vicariously living through said daughter. She's like, my daughter's perfect. She's an angel. She's a queen. But, like, grow up. He's done the right thing. He's paid for the stuff. He's rocking up. He's getting paid.
Your daughter
Tell him,
knew he was
JJ.
going to pick her up at 4 o'clock. Did you know that?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Grow
because you
up.
spoke to her and you were supposed to double date. So don't give me baloney.
Baloney! We haven't had a
Please,
baloney yet
please.
either.
Did you flunk your classes?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you leave school?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what happens when you do the wrong thing. You didn't give the flowers to anybody else, did you?
No, Your Honor.
You're even, my dear, going to pay for your own flowers because I think that your mother made an agreement with him to do that. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $415.
Yes, JJ, you tell him, bitch. Oh shit, that's it.
Denise
Bye.
Wyatt
Oh,
says.
stop. All right, that's the end of the hour-long episode of the stream that I am pushing. What do we think? Are we feeling like we should just do a little close off? I've got a little best of compilation. It's only 2 minutes. We could rock down with the best of compilation, have a little chat, finish it off. What do we think? It's 20 to 9 in my time. Your girl's got work tomorrow. She's got shit to do. Let's this compilation is called The Best Savage Moments of JJ. And I think it's going to be a great way to wrap up the evening, if you will. So let's just pop this on. And also I've got to save this, whatever is happening here, for next week. Because that is a great way to start the stream. So next week will be 6:30. As I said, tonight was just an impromptu evening. Every other night will be 6:30, assuming that other people like that. But let's rock the old best of for the
This
finale.
is sport for me. It's my sport. Listen to me. I want you to shut up and listen. Hey, stop talking. Shut up and listen. Sit. Sit down. I don't want to hear noise. Are you asking me a question? Who are you? I don't want to hear you. Now you can sit down. Now. You are
It wasn't in the
stupid
morning.
people.
It-
That's your fault. You're a moron. So's your mother. I want you to stop getting hysterical over nothing. Got it, girl? Are you out of your mind? Are you nuts? I just told you, I think you're ridiculous. You want to go into that nonsense? I'm all yours. Don't talk to me about chickens. Stay home on Thanksgiving. Cook a turkey. Just answer my question. All I want to know is where it all is. Don't ask me anything. Don't tell me what your landlord... Did you take their money? Were you asking me? I don't answer your questions. Well, then you're absolutely wrong. No, she bit herself. You go where I'm going. Pay. Would you tell me what the harassment is? What did you do? Think careful. You didn't. You gave away your bird. Don't buy puppies from the pet store. Right. Oh, yes. Don't be ridiculous.
You gave away your bird.
Losing your mind. Who cares? I don't want you to speak. Listen to me. You're getting the Honda. And that's what's happening. TMI. That's it. Period. Move on. You're lucky I'm entertaining any part of this dog. Do you or don't you? That's stupid.
Well, you can see that.
Stupid.
But the
Not
issue is-
with a hose. You sure would, Cookie. You are so full of baloney. The fact that you're a deadbeat. I don't care. We are done. I don't care whether he drove it or not. That was your job. Now watch the dog. I don't know who Mike is. Good. Show me. He didn't purchase a car. Throw it out. I was kind enough to tell you why 3 times. Zap. Baloney. Outrageous. A 0. You get 0. Dippity do. A Zippo. The agreement that I have. A Zippo. What's your face doing there? You're an idiot. They're ugly. I don't care about the dispute. I want to see where your junk is. You're not listening to me. Oh my God. You are so full of it. Yes or no? No, don't look at him. And that will be your fault. Do you get it?
No, I don't. Can you
Well,
please
then
give me
go
a-
to law school. Do you understand how
Goodness
annoying
me.
you are? Next. Forget it. We're done.
Oh, brilliant. What a way
You
to
said
end
you
it.
believe she...
Oh, goodness me. All right. What a stream. That was a great time. Thank you for coming in late. Thank you for hanging out. I lived for that compilation at the end. That like really made it for me. Thank you, Shreyan, for telling me my earrings look nice and they look good. Thank you for everybody that came in from last week, and thank you for the new peeps. It was so worth it, wasn't it? It was so good. Oh gee, my cheeks hurt from laughing so much. That was brilliant. As always, my friends, we will see you next week. As I said, this week was only a impromptu 7:30. Usually it will be an hour prior, so 6:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Standard, AEST, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So 6:30 normally. We're an hour late tonight. Let me know if you did like the hour later if you are new to the stream, but I think 6:30 works. As always, I will see you in my next video. If you haven't seen my actual posted video yet, then you know where that is on my channel. Go check it out. Send a like, comment if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already, because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and we can get more friends chatting with us while we watch JJ on a Wednesday. So anyway, that's it. I'm out. Thank you so much for joining, and buzzwords, click the bell, like the things, notifications. I have so much fun doing these. I am so excited for next week. I am like already excited and it's like not even over yet. So bye, much love. Mwah. And now the awkward part where I turn it off. Stop streaming.